Now let us learn about the latitudes. What are latitudes? So already I told you that in the grid system, latitude are horizontal circles drawn on the globe. Horizontal circles drawn on the globe. Right. So what are latitudes? First let's learn the definition. In the lower classes we will learn about what is a latitude in a simple way. What is that? The lines which are drawn horizontally on the globe are called as latitudes. Yes, they are drawn horizontally. They are drawn horizontally on the globe. They are called as a latitude. And how many latitudes are there? That also you might have learned. There are 180 degrees of latitudes are there. 90 degrees on the north, 90 degrees on the south pole. So you have learned about this. You might have learned about the different particular names have been given for important latitudes also. Why they have given? That we'll try to discuss in the coming topic, right? So now, what actually here is a latitude, right? And why it is here, equator has been mentioned as a longest latitude among all the latitude, because it is passing through the middle of the globe here and dividing the globe into two halves. That's why it is said as the longest latitude. So the horizontal circle that goes round the globe exactly in the middle. The horizontal circle that goes round the globe. The horizontal circle that goes round the globe exactly in the middle. It's going exactly in the middle at the equal distance from North Pole and South Poles is called as a equator. Why it is called as equator? Because it divides the earth into two halves. It has divided the earth into two halves, north and south. As I told you in the grid system also, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So the equator divides the earth into two halves. So the northern part is called as the northern hemisphere and the southern part is called as the southern hemisphere. And which latitude is dividing here? The equator. Equator is the largest or the longest latitude drawn on the globe. Right. Now, more to talk about these particular latitudes. These latitudes are designated in degrees. Right. In geometry also we have seen that degrees are there, etc., etc. So here also this latitude have been mentioned in degrees here. You can see I have drawn the degrees, right? Degrees. Okay. So these latitudes are drawn in degrees, minutes and seconds. See here, right? So you can see these latitudes are drawn in degrees, 0, minutes, right, and seconds. So in this way we can know what type of latitudes are present in the North Pole and South Pole. For example, if you are just confusing in this, I will write. For example, I said Hyderabad. Hyderabad is located in 17 degrees 38 minutes. Minutes we are drawing like this, right? North. What is north here? Northern part of the equator means it is present in the northern hemisphere. So our Hyderabad is located right in the northern hemisphere. Similarly, seconds also will be mentioned over there. So seconds. So most of the time what we see that in the Atlas book they do not mention second. They always mention only degrees and minutes they mention. Okay. So the latitudes are expressed in degrees, minutes and seconds. So from where actually this particular word we got the latitude? So we got the word latitude from Latin word that is latitudo. The meaning of this latitudo is width. The meaning of this latitude or latitudo is width. Okay, so width, right? And these particular latitudes are drawn parallel. They are drawn parallel from North Pole to the South Pole. They are drawn parallel from North Pole to South Pole. And this particular latitudes, they are ranging from 0 degrees, right? They are ranging from 0 degrees equator to 90 degrees North Pole and South Pole. These latitudes, they range from 0 degrees equator to 90 degrees North Pole and towards the 90 degrees South Pole. Why these particular names have been given to these important latitudes? Why? What is the reason for it? The reason is that the sunshine. You might have learned in the 8th class about this, that in some particular places it is hot, in some places it is very, very cold, isn't it? So, you might have also learned that equator is the very hottest place and the North Pole and the South Pole are the very coldest places. Yes, right. So, our geographers, right, what they did is that when they were making this particular latitudes and longitudes, so what they have studied that in some particular places, the sunlight is quite less, in some particular places sunlight is quite very more, and because of that they have divided this particular earth into 3 particular zones. They have divided. What is that zones? That is a tropical zone, this is a tropical zone, this is a temperate zone, right, this is a temperate zone, and this is a polar zone, right. Why tropical zone? Because sunlight falls or sun rays falls more over here, that's what temperature is more. Why temperate zone? Why? Because temperature does not fall that much, right, and that's what does not reach a much high temperature or much low temperature, that's what is a temperate zone. Then why it is called as a polar zone? Polar means what? Very cold. Why? Because sunlight does not reach in that particular places. Right. So that's why they are called as a polar zones. So this is how these particular latitudes have been given their important designations there. Right. 0 degrees equator, 23.5 degrees Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees south Tropic of Cancer, 66.5 degrees north Arctic Circle, 66.5 degrees south it is Antarctic Circle, 90 degrees north it is the North Pole, 90 degrees south it is mentioned as a South Pole. So these are the different particular latitudes which have been designated with particular different names. Okay, so to end up here, what it says, right, so here there is no latitude less than 0 degrees. There is no latitude less than 0 degrees and no latitude is greater than 90 degrees. 90 degrees is last, right? There is no degrees lesser than 0 here. So 0 is the least one and 90 is the highest latitude. Okay, and moreover, every latitude must be designated with the direction here. Yes, every particular latitude is designated. Right. So if you see here, I have written here 23 degrees north. Why have I written north? Because above the equator, what hemisphere is there? Is the northern hemisphere. And below the equator, what hemisphere is there? Southern hemisphere. So there are continents are there, countries are there which come under the northern hemisphere. There are continents are there, countries are there which come under the southern hemisphere. Right. That's what we have to mention them as, right? 23.5 degrees north, 23.5 degrees south, 90 degrees north, 90 degrees south we have to mention. And where this particular 90 degrees north and 90 degrees south are not circles at all. They are not circles, they are only poles, they are at the points. They are only the points they are, that's it. They are not at all circles, they are only points. So the half of between the equator and the North Pole, right, as I said, the northern hemisphere and the half to the south, it is called as a southern hemisphere. And counting the total number of degrees from North Pole to South Pole, we have 180 degrees of latitude. So total number of latitudes present on the globe is 180 degrees. 180 degrees. So this is what is about the latitude. So latitude means what? These are the parallel lines drawn from North Pole to South Pole in a circle, right? So these particular circles are drawn from north to south, and the largest particular circle is a equator, which is dividing the globe or the earth into two halves. The northern part is mentioned as the northern hemisphere and the southern part is mentioned as the southern hemisphere, and that's why all the particular latitudes has to be designated with the N or S, that is north hemisphere or southern hemisphere. So hope you have understood about this particular topic, latitudes. So we have learned about the latitudes. What are latitudes? How many latitudes are there? Each particular latitude, how they are designated, etc. we have discussed in an elaborate way. Now let us learn about the longitudes. So these longitudes, right, are drawn vertically on the globe, isn't it? And this particular longitude, they are not circles, but semicircles. Semi means half circles, right? So these are not full circles, but they are semicircles. Now, in the Latin word, this particular means quite a different. For example, latitude, what it meaning was width. Then what about the longitude? What does longitude means in Latin word? It means length. It means length. So longitude means what? Length. Okay. So these particular longitudes, what are they doing? They are cutting across every particular latitude. Cutting means what? Now for example, this is latitudes. Okay, this is latitude. Right. So these longitudes are cutting. These longitudes are cutting every particular latitude. Right. This longitude cut across every latitude. Okay. And moreover, the longitude that passes through the astronomical observatory at London or England is called as 0 degrees meridian or prime meridian or Greenwich meridian. For example, when we're discussing about latitudes, in that, as I said, the longest latitude which divides the earth into two halves, we call as a 0 degrees, we call as an equator, right? Similarly, here this longitude, it also divides earth into two halves. It is dividing into two halves. This is the eastern hemisphere and this is the western hemisphere. It is dividing into two halves in the lengthwise, right? So eastern hemisphere and hemisphere. And from where this is passing through? It is passing through the astronomical observatory at Greenwich, England. Where is passing the 0 degrees longitude? Astronomical observatory at Greenwich, England. What this particular 0 degrees longitude is called? It is called as a meridian or prime meridian or Greenwich meridian. It is called as a prime meridian or Greenwich meridian. So what is the 0 degrees longitude is called? Prime meridian or Greenwich meridian. Greenwich. Greenwich, it is how it is pronounced. Greenwich meridian. Then how many longitudes are there? In the latitude, what we observe, that there are 90 degrees on the north, we have 90 degrees on the south hemisphere we have. So total how many were there? 180 degrees latitudes were there. Then how many longitudes are there? On the eastern hemisphere, there are 180 degrees of longitudes are there, and on the western hemisphere, there are 180 degrees of longitudes are there. Total how many longitudes are there? 360 degrees of longitudes. How many longitudes are there? 360 degrees of longitudes are drawn on the globe, right? Drawn on the globe from pole to pole, they are drawn, right? And what more important is that this particular longitudes help us to know the time of a particular place. It helps us to know the time of a particular place. How to know the time of a particular place? As I told you in the beginning only, when I was talking about the grid system, as I said, we can know the time of a place from Hyderabad, about Chicago, we can know about Australia, we can know about different particular places very easily, we can find it out. Understood, children? Right. So, longitude help us to find the time of a particular place. Now, one more question here is, why only England is 0 degrees is passing? Why? This is a question you may be getting, right? So, the answer for this is England. England was one of the powerful, right, colonial power during the Asian period. That is, during the 17th, 16th, 17th or 18th century, they were one of the powerful colonial powers, right? And that is why they decided that the 0 degrees longitude will be considered from England only. That's why we consider 0 degrees longitude from Greenwich Observatory, right, in England. Okay, dear children, and more to talk about. Are there any Indians have been mentioned about this longitude? Yes, there are. Aryabhatta is there, then Surya Siddhanta is there, Varahamihira is there. These are the three important people who have mentioned about the meridians. For example, Surya Siddhanta postulates a spherical earth and proposes a meridian. Now, what is meridian here? Longitude. What is meridian here? Longitude that passes through Ujjain. That passes through Ujjain. Similarly, Aryabhatta also knew of all these meridians. Meridians means what? Longitudes. Okay. Including, right, that passes through Ujjain, Lanka and Rohatak. One of the famous personalities here, Varahamihira. He also knew about all these meridians, including the one that go through the Alexandria. One that goes through Alexandria. So, in this way, it's not just only the Europeans have known about this particular meridians or longitude, but the Indians also have done some research and they also knew about these longitudes, such as Surya Siddhanta, Aryabhatta and Varahamihira. Okay, so total how many longitudes are there now? 360 degrees of longitude. Now each particular, you can see here, these particular longitudes are opposite here, right? So 180 degrees is opposite to the 0 degrees here. 180 degrees west is opposite to the 0 degrees longitude. So what are they called as? They are called as anti-meridian. They are called as anti-meridians. So the longitude 180 degrees directly opposite to 0 degrees longitude is called the anti-meridian. What is called as a anti-meridians. So the 180 degrees, right, is opposite to the longitude is called as anti-meridian. The 180 degrees west, which is opposite to the 0 degrees longitude, is also called as anti-meridian. Okay, dear children, hope you have understood about this also. Now, why we are writing east and west? As I told you, it is very, very important on which particular direction are the places located. As I told you, right, about Hyderabad. Hyderabad is located in the north, that is a north latitude, and similarly, it is located in which particular longitude? Right? In which particular longitude? Longitude means length. In which particular longitude they are located? 70 degrees east they are located. So, Hyderabad is located on the east longitude. So, mentioning the or giving designating to the longitudes are very, very important whenever you are, for example, in which particular latitude and longitude is India located. How you will write? India is located. India is located, right, 8 degrees 4 minutes north, right. This is what is not here, latitude, north latitude, and 68 degrees 7 minutes is longitude. Is longitude. So in this way, we can find the places very easy. So here what I have mentioned here, the direction. Compulsory we have to mention the direction, in which particular direction they are located. So hope you have understood. The next topic we are going to discuss about how to find the time of a place. How to find the time of a place by using the longitudes. That we'll discuss the next topic. Yep. So we have discussed about the latitudes and longitudes and what are their uses, right? We have discussed about. Now let us know how to find the time of the places with the help of a longitude. Okay, so there are 180 degrees of longitudes on the east and 180 degrees of longitudes on the west. Okay, I'll draw the diagram over here. Right, so this is 0 degrees Greenwich, right? Greenwich meridian, got it? And this is 180 degrees east. This is 180 degrees west. So I have drawn the Greenwich meridian and the anti-meridians. Anti-meridian means what? The 180 degrees which is the 180 degrees longitude which is opposite to the Greenwich is called as an anti-meridian. Okay, so meridian means what? Longitude. So there are 180 degrees on the east and 180 degrees on the western hemisphere. Okay, so now how do we find out the time? So first of all, we have to know how many longitudes are there. For each particular longitude, right, how much time it takes. So we'll know it. So how do we actually observe it? So when you see that the sun takes 4 minutes, right? So sun takes 4 minutes for its position to move from one longitude to another longitude. For example, from 0 degrees to 1 degree of longitude. This is 1 degree of longitude. 1 degree of longitude. Okay, 1 degree of longitude. How much time does it take? It takes 4 minutes. How many minutes taking? 4 minutes. So for the sun position or the first sunlight to reach 1 degree of longitude, it takes 4 minutes. Then how many minutes it will take to reach 180 degrees of longitude? So that will try to calculate it. Okay. So next point it says the world is divided into 24 time zones. Okay, there are time zones are there. So it is divided. So we will discuss about that also. So now here it is 4 minutes for each longitude. Then how many minutes for 180 degrees? So 1 degree longitude, 1 degree longitude, right, is equal to 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Then 180 degrees longitude is equal to how many minutes? This is a question over here. So what we have to do? We all know that 1 degree of longitude is equal to 4 minutes. Then 180 degrees we do not know. So what we have to do? 180 degrees into 4 minutes. So 1 longitude is equal to 4 minutes. So 180 degrees longitude is equal to how many minutes? So 180 degrees into 4 minutes. So 4 0 0. 4 8s are 32. 4 1s are 4. 5 6 7. So 720 minutes. So the sun's position, right, to move 180 degrees of longitude, it is 720 minutes. So the sun takes 720 minutes to move from 0 degrees to 180 degrees of longitude. So hope you have understood about this, right? So to move complete 360 degrees of longitude, how much time it takes, right? So for example, directly if you take 360 into 4 is equal to, right, how much will take? 0. 4 6 are 24. 4 3 is 12. 13 14. So 1440 minutes it has taken, right? But calculating in minutes is quite difficult, but let us calculate that into hours, right? So 440 minutes divided by hours. So 440 minutes divided by 60. So 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So 60 divided by 1440. How much are we going to get it? 0. Sorry. Cancel it. How many times goes? 6 2s are 12. Right? How much is remaining there? 2. 240. How many times goes? 24 means 6 4s are 24. So 240. Right. So 24. 6 4s are 24 here. So 24 hours. So the earth takes 24 hours for one rotation. Similarly, it takes 24 hours for the sun rays to fall on this 360 degrees of latitude. So hope you have understood about this particular timing, how to calculate the longitudes, how much time it takes for 1 degrees and how much time it takes for 180 degrees of longitude and how much time it takes for 180 degrees of longitude. Next, you say that this particular world is divided into 24 time zones. Take the textbook. In the textbook, on the page number 13, this is the page number 13. You can see here the world is divided into 24 time zones are there, right? 24 time zones are there. So how much? 12 time zone on the east, 12 time zones on the west, 12 time zone on the east and 12 time zone on the west. So the total is 24 time zones. But how much time does it takes to travel one particular time zone and how many longitudes are there in one particular time zone? Okay, so now if you look at the board here, the width of each time zone is 15 longitudes. The width, right? If you take here the width, you can see here one time zone is 0 to 1 is equal to 15 degrees, then again 30 degrees, then 45 degrees, then 60 degrees, like that the number of longitudes. So each time zone, it has 15 degrees of longitude. How many longitudes are there in each time zone? 15 degrees of longitude. So each time zone 15 degrees. So 15 degrees of longitude, that is one time zone, into 4 minutes is equal to 60 minutes. So it takes 1 hour, right, for the sun's position to move from one longitude to 15 longitude. So one time zone is equal to 15 longitudes and 15 longitude into 4 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So that is the answer. So hope you have understood about this particular time zone. So there are 12 time zones on the east, 12 time zones on the west. So in which particular time zone does India comes? Here it is there mentioned here. We will discuss about, there are some certain questions are there. We will be discussing about that questions also. So let us go back to the page again. Here there are few particular questions are given over, a few particular boxes are given over here, right? Time and travel he has given. Time and travel on the page number 11. You know that the earth rotates on its own axis and longitudes are imaginary. Whether it's longitudes or latitude, both are imaginary lines. Imaginary means imagine, just imagine, they are there, that's it. They are not there permanently, they are only imaginary line, my dear children, they are only imaginary, right? So they are only imaginary lines we have made, hence there is time difference in the time as you travel from west to east or east to west. Yes, there is a time difference is there as you are traveling from west to east, right? West to east or east to west. So as you are traveling from west to east or east to west, the time always changes. West to east you gain 4 minutes and east to west you will lose the time. Okay, so west to east we are gaining the minutes and here we are losing. So this side it is plus side and this side is a minus side. So when you are moving from west to east, you have to add. But when you are moving towards the east to west, you have to minus. So this keep in your mind when you are adding, right? When you are going towards the west to east, you have to add the particular. But whereas here you have to minus. So we will discuss about that also in a clear way. But if you are traveling from east to west, you lose 4 minutes as you cross every longitude. These are referred as EGA and WLS. These are referred as EGS and WLS. So, what it says, when you are moving from west to east direction, right, you have to plus, right, when you are moving from east to west, then you have to minus, right. So, that is what it says. These are referred to as EGA and WS. EGA means ease, gain, add. So, this is called as, right, you are adding here. So, this is called as the EGA and this is called as WLS. Okay. So, what is this EGA? EGA means what? East, gain, add. Right. East, gain, add. And west, loss, subtract. Okay. So, this is a very important EGA and WLS. So, EGA means what? Is, gain, add. You have to add here. But whereas here, west, loss, subtract. So, you have to minus this side and we have to plus this side when you are moving. So, when it is noon, for example, I say, when it is noon, 12 in the day on Monday at 0 degrees longitude and it is midnight, right, 12 o'clock night at the opposite longitude, that is the anti-meridian, just to the west of the 180 degrees. The Tuesday is just beginning while it is Monday is just ending here. So, if it is, this is 0 degrees, my dear children, 0 degrees longitude, right? And what here says that it is 0 degrees, right? It is midnight, right? It is noon, Monday, 0 degrees. On Monday, it is 0 degrees. It is midnight. It is midnight here. Midnight here, all right? At the opposite longitude, the anti-meridian. Okay. Okay. It is night here. Right? And to just to the west of the 180 degrees west, it is a morning here. It is morning, right? So, quite you can say here it is ending and here it is beginning. For example, today is particular day. Maybe it is a Wednesday, maybe it is a Thursday or whatever may be day. So, for example, today is Wednesday. Today, Wednesday night and whereas here it is a Wednesday morning here, right? So, this is how it happens. Okay. So, just opposite. Okay. So, notice that if you follow the, right, if you follow the calculated time zone boundaries, some countries would have more than one time zone. USA have more time zones. Few particular countries have only one time zone because they are small. They come in the 15 degrees longitude, but there are very large countries are there. Russia is there, America is, USA is there. They have a larger time zones. Okay. So, for example, India would have 2-hour time zones. That means the time between western and eastern part of India would be different by 1 hour with the far-flung northeast even more different. This is considered too complicated to be useful. For example, let us take India as an example. Hope you have understood about this. East, gain, add and west, loss, subtract. So, we will come to this also once we complete this topic. So, here let us talk about India, right. Now, observe that this is India. I am drawing here this India, okay. Okay, now this is India, observe, right. So, here India comes under 2 time zones. 2 time zone means how much? 1 time zone, 1 time zone is equal to 15 longitudes. 15 longitudes. Understood? It is 15 longitudes. Okay, 15 longitudes here. Okay, but whereas 2 time zone, right? 2 time zone is equal to how much? 30 longitudes, right? 2 time zone is equal to 30 longitudes. So India is in the 2 time zone, means how many longitudes are there total? 30 longitudes. So there will be a time difference will be there. On the east, the time will be different. On the west also time will be different, isn't it? But we are following the same time throughout our country. How is this possible? It's possible only by taking a standard longitude. So India has taken a standard longitude for itself. So we call it as Indian Standard Time. So what is the standard time India has chosen? India has chosen a standard time called as 82 degrees and 30 minutes east longitude. So India has chosen 82 degrees 30 minutes as the Indian Standard Time. This is the Indian Standard Time. Indian Standard Time. So we consider this as a Indian Standard Time. So based on this, we follow the same time throughout the whole country. We follow the same time throughout the whole country. Not only our country, but all the countries in the world, they have their own standard time. They have their own standard. Pakistan has its own standard time. Nepal has its own standard time. Bangladesh has its own time. Bhutan, Myanmar, every particular country has their own standard time. They follow their own standard time. Right? Why they follow their own standard time? What is the reason that the whole country follows the same time? Listen carefully. If Arunachal Pradesh follows its own time, if Gujarat follows its own time, there is 1 hour difference is there, right? 1 hour or 2 hours difference will be there here. Okay. So, if Arunachal Pradesh is following its own time and Gujarat is following its own time, Tamil Nadu is following its own time, our Jammu and Kashmir, they are following their own time. Now, the person who is traveling from here to Arunachal Pradesh and the person is traveling from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat, right? What happens? They may meet with an accident. Why? Because his timing is different and his timing is different. Both are traveling on the same particular track, right? What happened? They may have a confusion and they may meet with an accident. So accidents may take place if they follow different times. That's why to remove this confusion, our country or the other countries in the world, they have their own standard time so that to avoid confusion and to avoid the accidents, they follow the same time throughout the country. Now we observed why we follow the same time throughout the country, to avoid confusion and to avoid accidents throughout the country. Okay. Moreover,